All right, guys, so today I'm going to be giving you a super quick and comprehensive idea on how to start an older motorcycle that's going to have your old-fashioned kickstart, your good old-fashioned kill switch, and your old-fashioned manual choke. I'm going to give you a first-person perspective and then a second-hand perspective, kind of what it looks like from your point of view and what it looked like from watching somebody. Hopefully this will give you an idea on how to start these older machines. I love these old bikes. They're a lot more opinionated than your new machines, but hey, that just gives you more to love, more to like, and it just lets you feel like you're more connected with your machine. So with all that to be said, let's get into it and let's get started. All right, guys, so like I said, this is the old school United States Marine Corps edition KLR 250 built by Kawasaki. So this bike is pretty much old school. Not a lot of fancy bells and whistles. The Marine Corps has never been one for fancy bells and whistles. This one does have a lot more armor than your standard motorcycle, especially your standard street bike is going to have. It's got your skid plate, it's got light guards, it's got all that good stuff, but it still has the same basic starting hardware. So first, let's identify what you're going to need to know for an old school bike. First of all is your kickstart. Now, the kickstart is right here on the side of the engine. What this does is this actually is a manual version of what a starter motor does. So a starter motor is a little motor that sits right here, goes into your transmission or whatever, and it cranks a flywheel. Well, this cranks the flywheel, but it's powered by your foot. So what it does is it sits here on the engine, and when you actually want to start the bike, you're going to pull it out, and then it flips to the side. Your foot is going to go on this, and you push it down, you crank it down. Now, I will show you how to do that. All right, so next we have the rear brake. So this pedal right here operates the rear brake. You push down on this with your right foot. This right here is the foot peg that your foot rests on. This doesn't do anything. It's simply there to rest your foot on. Going around to the other side of the bike, over here, over on the other side of the bike here, this right here is going to be your gear shifter. So when you click this up, that goes up in gears. You click it down, that goes down in gears. Right here is the other foot peg on the other side of the bike. Below the gas tank, you're going to have your fuel. So this is your reserve and your main fuel tank. So if I flip this down, that's going to access my reserve fuel tank. With it in the up position, it's accessing the main fuel tank right here. Here is simply your coolant level. So there's a little viewing diagram here. You can see how much coolant is in the bike. Again, when you're checking fluids on a motorcycle, you got to make sure it's standing upright because motorcycles, as you know, lean on a kickstand. So if you're checking it when the bike's leaned over, you're not going to get an accurate reading. So going to the levers here. Over here, we have the left-hand side. Right here is your choke. So this is very important on older motorcycles because you got to get the choke ratio right. So if it's a cold morning, you're going to crank your choke all the way on, push it all the way to the left. And what that actually does is it puts more fuel into the carburetor and it kicks the engine over a little bit easier. Let's see if I can get zoomed in on that. So there's going to be this little symbol right here. Hopefully you can see it. That little symbol means choke, so it's a little bit different on different motorcycles, but that's going to be the universal symbol for choke. And so like I said, with it off, it's going to be all the way to the side. Then when I want to access the choke, so it's a cold morning, it's wet out, whatever, you turn it all the way on. Now, old motorcycles are very finicky in their choke and how much choke to give them. This bike starts amazing when it's nice and warm, but when it's cold out, you got to get the choke ratio just right or it will stall out and it'll get flooded, and that's kind of a pain, but that's a pretty typical thing with old motorcycles. Next, we have the buttons. So we've got the horn button, the blinker button. Again, flip it one side or the other is blinkers. We've got high and low headlight. Then on this side, we have the clutch lever. So when I pull this in, it engages the clutch. Over here, you can see on the engine, that engages the clutch, puts it in neutral so you can switch gears. Now, on the right-hand side, we have the on-off switch. So this, when it's up in the center, that is going to be on position. Either side, either left or right, turns the engine off. And then over here is simply your front brake, which on most motorcycles, it is a disc brake like this one is. And then here underneath the dials, we have the key, just like any other key, on, off. And then if you turn it all the way, turn the handlebars all the way over, you turn the key all the way to the left, that is going to lock your handlebars so that they cannot move, so it's harder for somebody to steal them. All right, guys, and then we got the instrument cluster. So this side speedometer, this side odometer. Then in the center is going to be the temperature of your engine, so your coolant. This bike actually doesn't have a fuel gauge, which is kind of annoying, but you get used to it. Odometer simply measures the speed at which your engine is running. You really don't need that unless you're a new rider, because you just learn to listen to your engine. And then this one simply obviously tells you the speed. All right, guys, so those are the basic controls and systems on a old school motorcycle. Like I say old school because a lot of new motorcycles don't have these manual options. They have automatic chokes. They don't have kicks. They don't have kick starts. They have a lot of this automatic stuff, which is actually really nice. But if you do have an older motorcycle, or if you love older motorcycles like I do, then you like some of this manual stuff and you love to really get to know your engine. So now that I've given you an overview of what most of the systems on this bike do, let's actually see how to start this bike. All right, guys, this will be easier from a first-hand perspective. So I am now sitting on my motorcycle. So what I'm going to do first is look down here and make sure that my kickstand is up. Looks like my kickstand is still down, so what I'm going to do is reach over my rear foot, simply kick that up. Good, that's out of the way now. Now I'm sitting on the bike, and I'm going to reach with my left hand. I'm going to make sure the key is in the on position. So that's simply, there's an off position and an on position. The light's kind of weird because it's really bright out, but you're going to want to make sure the key is in the upright position, in the on position. Next, you got to look over here to your kill switch and make sure that that is also in the on position. So if your kill switch is down, but your key is on, it won't matter, the bike will not start. You got to make sure the key is on, and then the kill switch is also on. Lots of old bikes have kill switches like this because it's better for the electricals to use a kill switch. So that's what you're going to do. Then you're going to want to look over to your choke here, and depending on the temperature of the outdoors, you're going to determine how much choke to give it. So right now I've already run the bike today. The bike's nice and warm. As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day out here. So I'm not going to give it any choke because it's not going to need any choke. However, if this were a cold, rainy day, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the choke all the way to the on position, all the way as far as it'll go. That's going to give the bike as much choke as it can get, and that's going to help it start. That's going to help it start easier. However, if it's just a little bit cold out, then I'm going to actually give the bike half choke. So half choke is, this is full choke as far as go. Half choke is simply turning it halfway. Now, again, these are old bikes, so you're going to have to determine this. The bike doesn't do anything for you like the new ones do. This bike, you got to determine how cold it is and how much choke to give it. So today I'm not going to give it any choke because, as I said, that would flood it. If you try to give the bike choke when it doesn't need it, it will flood the bike and the bike won't start for a while. That's simply as it is. These are old machines. They need a little bit of love. So today I'm not going to give it any choke. So now I've looked at it. I've got the key in the on position, the kill switch in the on position, and the choke lever is off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in the clutch. This is very important. You hold the clutch. Then I'm going to reach down here with my other hand, the hand that I would normally be holding my normally I do this with my right hand, but as I said, I'm holding the phone. So what I'm going to do is pull the lever out. This is your kick start. This is what I kick over to start the engine while still holding on to the clutch. Again, everything's in the on position. Holding the clutch, I'm going to put my foot on the lever, and as with the lever all the way in the up position, I'm going to give it a nice kick. And boom, your engine is started. Now, what you're going to want to do is before you drop your clutch or before you let go of the clutch, you're going to make sure your shifter is in all the way down in first gear. So I'm going to push down on this with my toe, make sure it's in first gear, which is where I want it. However, because I want to leave the engine running, I'm actually going to pull it up one half notch into neutral. So barely click it up with your foot on with your hand on the lever. I'm going to pull that up. So we can see I've got a little light illuminated that says neutral. Now I can release the clutch and put the kickstand down. And my bike is running, she's idling, she sounds beautiful. All right, guys, so I showed you the first-person view, but now let's look at how to start this when you're actually looking at this bike from a distance. Hopefully that'll help some of you guys a little bit better. So what you're going to do is you're going to approach the bike. Like I said, you're going to straddle the bike, and you're going to kick the kickstand up and pull the clutch in. Next, you're going to go over here to your kill switch. You're going to make sure that's in the upright on position. You're going to look at your key, make sure that's also in the on position. Then what you're going to do is you're going to grab your Kickstarter. You're going to push this out so it's sticking out from the engine here. you're gonna put your right foot on it. You're gonna get it so it's kind of nicely situated there, and then you're simply going to give it a good hard kick. And there you go. So I've got the bike in neutral right now so I can let go of the clutch, but you're always gonna wanna make sure that you got your hand on the clutch, pulled in when the bike is in gear. So right now I'm gonna kick it into gear, and what happens if I drop the clutch? The bike kicks forward and dies. That's why you gotta make sure you keep your hand on the clutch, because otherwise the bike's not gonna go anywhere. Well, there you go. That's a super quick and simple overview, giving you another perspective on it. All right, guys, well, there you go. That is how you start an old school motorcycle. Hopefully you found this video helpful and informative. If you do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. Other than that, stay tuned. I got all kinds of new videos coming out, and have a freaking awesome day. I'll see you later.